So Aiste, thank you so much for joining me today here at the Centerville Historical Museum. So excited to get a sneak peek of your exhibit. Talk to me a little bit about how this exhibit came to be.
Well, I work with Amanda Converse, who's a big champion of all things local, and she had told me that Randy Ho, who's in charge of the museum, was looking to fill one of the spaces and got us in touch. And I just thought it'd be wonderful to exhibit some of the amazing costumes that they do have here at the museum, and sort of have a little modern twist to it, you know, to have a little more modern interest in the museum as well. And so we decided to do a collaboration where I picked a few costumes from the Victorian era and used them as my inspiration pieces to design outfits for the modern day that kind of go with my design aesthetic and what I do with Devinto, which is my clothing line that I work on presently. So and the exhibit was born.
How long did it take you? Because these outfits are so intricate and detailed. It looks like it would have taken a really long time.
Well, it was a process. I guess sometimes even the research part is the longest part, because I had to go through a lot of the outfits that they have. A lot here, actually, you'd be surprised, and figure out what would work well for my aesthetic and what I liked. And so I had to pick 4. So that took a little bit of time, and then from the 4 I had to figure out what's the details that I liked in it that I wanted to use in my design process. And then once sort of that comes together, it's just putting the pieces together and doing the patterns. And even that took a little bit of time, because some things in your mind seem to work, and then when you put it together, it's like, I don't know if I like this detail, so you switch some things around. But it was 4 outfits, so I would say it took me, I did 1 a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. They're so intricate and so interesting. I love the twist of history, looking at the historical garment and seeing its modern version is such an interesting thing. Did it take you a long time to come up with the sketch or the drawing or the idea for the piece?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a work in progress, so they kind of shifted and changed a little bit as I thought about it. But yeah, I mean, part of it's nice because I actually am inspired by vintage stuff in general. So like even the modern pieces still have a little bit of like a 50s, 60s flair to it. But yeah, like there's some pieces that I just kind of knew, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And then the other ones, at first I had them more intricate, then I thought actually the simpler, the more likely people are actually going to want to wear it.
And it's so interesting too to see some of the really historical aspects of some of these costumes, like the sleeve detail is so neat, and to see that translated into a more modern version is such an interesting thing. I think loved all the pieces. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, it's probably the peplum jacket with the ruffle. That's definitely probably one of my favorite ones.
Gorgeous.
It's the one jacket, like even when I was doing the research in the back at the exhibit and looking at all the costumes, like that jacket popped out at me right away. I was like, yep,
spoke to you.
That one. I was like,
I'm
gonna do that one for sure. Yeah, that was an easy one. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your clothing line. Tell me how it originated. How long have you been working on it?
So I actually really kind of launched it when I moved to the Cape 3 years ago. I did work on it the year before. I was back home. I'm from Lithuania, and I was spending some time with my grandmother in Lithuania, and I kind of conceptualized the idea of it, and then really kind of launched it when I came here with my husband. I was sort of in between jobs. So I had time to really work on it. I was working in the fashion industry before, and that was part of my gripe with it, is that there was a lot of just unethical practices in fashion industry. I think we're all aware of slowly now. A lot of it's becoming more prominent, and but a lot of people didn't really talk about it back then or think about it. And I was working in the fashion industry and knowing that a lot of stuff was produced overseas. with marginalized people and the pollution. Like I was working with outerwear, so it was a lot of leather, so a lot of dyeing of leather and going into the rivers in Pakistan, and people's life expectancy was like 37 years old that were working with the chemicals and stuff. So I knew right away that I didn't want to be part of that. So I wanted to do my own thing and like do it differently. So I started Devinto as an eco fashion line. And I think a lot of people at the time like always thought of eco fashion as sort of like hippie hemp stuff, like, you know. So I was like, no, there's a way to do it where, you know, let's provide people with the choices of different aesthetics so that like if you really want people to switch over, that they have more of a wider choice. So, you know, that was my goal, to make eco-fashion fashionable.
And it's so awesome that we have access to you because you actually work out of Shift Boutique on Main Street. So you're designing all the time. Do you ever do special designs for or requests? So if someone comes in with an idea they have, you'll help them make it reality. Yeah,
I do that all the time. I've done, you know, bridesmaids dresses. I've done a wedding dress even. I've got a girl that asked me to make a coat for her for the winter, you know. So I love that, actually. To me, that's what fashion is all about, is to be able to cater to people, and I feel like that's what's going to make us hang on to our clothing more rather than just wear it and pay $5 for a shirt and wear it a couple times and throw it out. You know,
sometimes I think we have a vision in our heads of what we're looking for, and you can't find it all the time. So for a special piece like that, really a cool opportunity to interact with someone like yourself, and you can have a design that's just yours.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people get intimidated and think that they can't afford it sometimes. Like, you'd be surprised, you know, how affordable it could be. It depends what you're doing, obviously, and what kind of fabrics you're picking. Like, if you're gonna get like Italian silk, it's gonna be expensive, obviously. But it's good to be able to just come and consult and talk about and see what your budget is. It's totally doable. So tell us a little. Do you have a website for your line? Yes, it's devinto.net, devinto.net. So that's where all my designs are, and you can order my designs or contact me via email and ask for if you need something custom made. And a lot of people, that's what they do. They'll see a design of mine that they like, but they'll say, oh, but I prefer it longer or shorter, or can you add a sleeve or remove a sleeve? Yeah, exactly. So all those things are possible. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, telling us all about your fashion line as well as your exhibit here at the Centerville Historical Museum. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.